Well, mixed emotions wherever you happen to be, in Mumbai, in Delhi, in Bangalore. 55 for 4 after 10 overs. A few celebrations would have sparked off in the Garden City. But then over 100 runs scored in the back 10 by Delhi means that they've kept themselves alive. And it should be a cracking final 10 overs or final 20 overs of this game. Rovman Powell kept them alive, 43 of 34. Rishabh Pant looked like he was possibly heading to that man of the match, elusive performance we were all wanting from him after a platform from Prithvi Shaw early on in the power play. Jasprit Bumrah once again outstanding, 3 for 25 in his 4 overs. Here to look back at the 20 overs and to try and see where this match stands. We're here on Cricbuzz Live. I'm joined by Lisa and Joy. Lisa, at this stage, very different from the 55 for 4. At least Delhi fans, Delhi players, they'll be thinking they've given themselves not a huge score, but something to bowl at.
I think it's game on. I really do feel that this is a total that they can potentially defend. We've seen that runs on the board first has counted for a lot at the back end of the tournament as the pitches get a little bit tired. We saw a couple of deliveries during that inning just kind of kick and almost like not a puff of dust, but almost debris off the pitch was dislodged. So I think there's something in it for the bowlers if they get it right. So I do think it's absolutely game on.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Delhi bowlers as we go towards the end of this show, Joy. But just, the brilliance of Bumrah was there. Did, Rishabh Pant, you were just wanting a little bit more from him. Powell did the job. You wanted him to stay till the end.
Yeah, look, I think, and he would have been really upset the way he got out. You've got 21 runs in the over. It's a wide. That was a patent wide. He reached way outside for it and just got out 39 of 33. It's just the kind of innings. He was tantalized. They needed him. Maybe him and Powell remaining in the back end. One of them survived. It could have been 15, 20 runs more. Some very interesting calls from Mumbai, and that's what I was thinking. One of them was the fact that Riley Meredith ended with just 2 overs, which means you basically didn't need to bowl Ramandeep Singh. Ramandeep Singh comes in, bowls a 15th, and he goes for 20-odd runs. He goes for, I think, 19, 20 runs. They give him the 20th again over Riley Meredith. And that's, again, I'm trying to see whether it's because they want to see how he plays under pressure, or is it because they thought in the match situation he was the better bowler. If he was, that's a really interesting call to take, given that Riley Meredith is your gun international fast bowler.
Yeah,
I get a sense that it is. We want to see if Ramandeep Singh is the type of player that could finish an innings for us moving forward. They did it even in the last game. They kind of brought him on at the back end. And, if Mumbai was still in the hunt for points and to make the finals, I really actually don't think we would have seen him bowl. But they can experiment a little bit, which I'm sure Bangalore fans are there going, no, give it to Riley Meredith. Experimentation, get it done.
That was my follow-up question, Lisa, and you already answered it. I mean, you surely want, I'm not saying anyone underperforms ever. You play for pride, you play for whatever, but the fact that it's logical to get, personnel into your team, Joy, for testing the waters. But in a situation where Riley Meredith is the man, 2 overs gone at absolutely nothing, they really should have been looking at the best person for that situation rather than an experiment.
Yeah, or even if you give him that 15, come back and bowl the 20th again. He went for 9 runs. Maybe Riley may have gone for 15. But if I was a Bangalore supporter, I would be tearing my hair out at that point in time. I'd be saying, what are you guys doing? And had Rishabh Pant survived that over, again, the wicket he got was pure luck. He was miles outside, And it's just one of those things when you look at these games. And today, if, for example, Delhi win this chase and, Mumbai are 10 short, they will never hear the end of it from Bengaluru fans.
Yeah, they certainly won't. Got a lot of passionate Mumbai fans as well, to give them credit. They've packed the Wankhede Stadium in. They're supporting them. They want a win to finish with. They want some performances. But we'll talk about that in a moment. But Lisa, Rovman Powell, once again, was outstanding. Early on in the season, we remember we were even doubting, does he even make it into the 11, despite all his credentials for the West Indies?
Yeah, he was found out early on in the tournament with spin, and it was more the wrist spinners that were troubling him. Inability to be able to pick the ball and which way it was turning. I feel like, you know, he spent a bit more time on Indian pitches, no doubt the coaching staff as well. I mean, the fact that he was able to smash the off spinner out of the park for a couple would have given him a lot of confidence. So it seems that his game is developing throughout this tournament, and he was the one that probably really put the Delhi innings into, you know, second gear, because it was kind of just, you know, faltering a little bit, but he gave it the acceleration that was required.
And he did go up against the spinners, Joy. He had one brief moment, I think it was against Hrithik Shokeen. He survived an appeal, in fact, a DRS, and then decided that, listen, I can't just sit back and wait for the spinners. I'm going to go after them.
Yeah, and that's the thing that, you know, we were talking, the commentators were speaking about it, that he's hit the maximum number of sixes in T20s this year. And you can make out why, because the brute power that's available to him when he gets it, he's just so strong. It's just unbelievable. And the couple of sixes he hit would give him a lot of confidence, because, you know, he was not, till that point in time, it was looking as if against the spinner's going to tie him down. And then he hits 2 sixes and he just seemed to settle down immediately. And while Mayank Markanday got on, he didn't really look unsettled against him as well, because as Lisa has said, that he's probably more comfortable with the finger spinner than the wrist spinner. But I think he managed to play the wrist spinner just as well. And that 10.2 between overs 11 and 15, that is the making of this innings. I mean, the last 10.5 is something you expect with, you know, even if you have 3 or 4 wickets in hand, you're going to go for it. But 10.5 at that point in time is what the difference maker was.
Yeah, and just imagine, Lisa, today not a good day to be an Aussie in Delhi colours. We were expecting, if Warner doesn't, Marsh will, or the other way around. Not often we think of a Marsh first bowler after his first innings. You know, he didn't look great in that first innings. After that, he looked brilliant.
Yeah, he has. And it was funny because when I was watching it, the producer came out and I said, oh, lucky I didn't actually say about the Aussies winning the T20 World Cup. They know how to play pressure situations. That, you know, when they need it. No, Warner gone for 5, Marsh, Golden Duck. It's just cricket. And Mumbai bowled well at the top. They set the field right. You feel like Dave Warner's, he always likes to run it down to third. And you just hope that the fielder is there. This time Bumrah was there. Whereas Mitch Marsh was a good ball and a great catch by Sharma.
But I can tell you, Joy, one of the things we've been talking about is trying to figure out how the Bangalore boys and the support staff are watching the game on social media, as well as the official broadcaster. They've actually put out a photograph of the entire Bangalore team sitting around in a massive group somewhere at the hotel. It's not in anyone's room. They're probably in a conference room or in their team room, and they're all getting together and watching. I wonder what they're feeling at the halfway stage.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because I feel at the halfway stage is just tantalizingly poised. It's not that big a total, but they also feel that this is a fragile. Mumbai has not shown to be a really strong batting all the time, so it's you can expect, if wickets fall, they get a couple of early wickets, things can happen. And Delhi has a decent bowling side. Also, on a pitch like this, both Kuldeep and Aksar will be a handful, because they got a lot of bounce. And yes, you'll get top edges going for 6 as well. But you are going to get, balls that climb on batsmen, good fast bowlers, somebody like Nokia. He'll see what somebody like Jasprit Bumrah got out of this pitch, and he'll like bowling out here. So it'll be an interesting contest. And I think that's the point, that they do. At this point in time, if you're watching in your Bangalore, you don't want an interesting contest. You want an easy one.
Yeah, particularly the one that Bumrah got, Prithvi Shaw.
Pretty sure.
I mean, if you're a Nokia or even a Khalil Ahmed, thinking that I can generate a bit more pace, and I think if that's what you're going to do to Prithvi Shaw, we've got a couple of guys who can do that to you as well. So that might just encourage them.
Yeah, it will. I mean, that was a brute of a delivery. The fact that, the pace, the bounce, but then also the movement in to cramp Prithvi Shaw up and get the gloves. Good catch in the end as well. So there is something in this pitch for the bowlers. If they can get the right line, the right length, the right pace, and then spinners as well, I actually think it will offer them plenty. Dew hasn't really been discussed for the last 4 or 5 weeks. It was almost the first 2 to 3 weeks. Dew was a huge factor. So I don't think it will play and be an issue for tonight's game.
Yeah, it's also a bit to do with the atmospheric conditions, Joy. When you have a very clear day, you know that a bit of dew can form towards the latter part of the evening. But given that we had a bit of a drizzle, it means probably cloud cover around, less chance of that kind of moisture forming. But either way, surface has shown something. And we often say that don't judge a pitch until the 40 overs have been bowled. I suspect this is not a 190 pitch.
No, absolutely. The other thing I was thinking about is, and I was wondering whether it was watching the same pitch, because, Bumrah is getting some bounce and pace. And then Sams comes on, and there was a particular period where they're trying to slog him, and they just couldn't slog him. If you remember, Robman Powell was trying to hit. All of them were trying to hit. And the ball, they were just dragging the ball on. They just were unable to time the ball. So I think, if you're bowling at that 125, 130 and the pitch is a bit, it's not that easy to get away at that point in time. So it'll be a very interesting thing. Is Shardul Thakur the bowler who could really do stuff for them today because of his cutters and variations rather than the purely fast bowlers? It's very interesting to watch.
How often, Lisa, when we talk about run chases and the reasons why typically teams want to chase is because they know the total on the board, they know what the batsmen have to do, the batters have to do. But this is probably that kind of situation where the bowlers have learned a lesson and hence they could try and dictate the second half of the game.
Yeah, I mean, both teams are picking up as much information as they can from the first innings. How batters can score, what are the scoring areas, what were the lengths that were easier, how do I manipulate to get myself into that position? And the same thing from a bowling perspective. You pick up as many lessons as you can. So it'll be interesting to see how both teams go about it, given that they've had a look now of 20 overs and what the pitch can do, who was successful from a batting and bowling point of view as well.
Yeah, one of the things Bumrah said is not too much swing early on, rectified it, bowled into the pitch, and hence we got the results we wanted. Well, this is again lessons that they'll pick up. You're not necessarily talking about a typical swing bowling attack, a Deepak Chahar and Umesh Yadav, a Mohammad Shami in that first power play, but different kind of bowlers. Maybe bowlers suited to this pitch, Joy?
Maybe. Look, Nokia bowls at really, he can disappear just as fast, but he liked the pace on this pitch. And he's going to be a handful at 150 or he's going to be really fast. Also, Shardul Thakur in the middle overs, if they don't bowl him early and they bring him up in the middle, little cutters, change of pace may make a difference because the ball obviously holding up a little bit. And again, I really think it's crucial. Normally, Kuldeep, wrist spinners, Monkhead is a really small ground, but little bit of extra bounce. Just, take a few risks against him. He could go for 18 to 18 and over. He could also take 3 wickets. He's that kind of bowler.
All right, let's see if we can put both of you on the spot. It could be a chase. It could be a defense. Key individual for you, second half of the innings, Lisa.
I feel like the skipper, Rohit Sharma. I think if he gets runs, he'll settle the dugout. They've got enough batters. That means there's a good base that's been put at the top of the order.
Yeah, he'll be honorary mayor of Bengaluru if he does do that. It'll be something. I'm sure the city will award him something.
The keys. They'll give him the keys. Keys to the city.
Keys to the city. Whoever it is. Could be Rohit Sharma, Tim David, Ishan Kishan, anyone down that Mumbai lineup. Joy, who's it for you? Is it someone
Actually, I was thinking of Rohit as well. But I'm going to go for Ishan. If she's taken Rohit, I'll go for Ishan because my sense is that if the ball sort of comes down to those 6 overs and when the spinners come in, if they have managed to get that 50, 55 run start up front, maybe whatever the spinners do will not be that important.
Interesting. Both have chosen a member of the Mumbai Indians, one of the opening batsmen apiece. What about the bowlers? Maybe it could be one of them. I'm going to throw in a bowler's name here for a change. Didn't have a great start to the season. Had the worst possible start. Anrik Nokia. Today just might be his day. A little bit of extra pace, 2 or 3 wickets here and there, and it could be interesting. All that means is we've got a spicy final 20 overs. This is the last live 20 overs that actually matters in this tournament. Tomorrow's going to be a dead rubber, and then we go on to the playoffs. So look forward to the next 20. For now, we look forward to the next 10 and return at the 10th over on Cricbuzz Combox. We've got the thoughts of our panel. Lisa, Joy, thank you for that. We'll see all of you very soon in 10 overs time.